Today is the second video in my anxiety and series. I've decided this year to do a series on my channel, which every month I'm going to talk about a different subject to do with anxiety, whether that's stuff that happens because of your anxiety or stuff you have to deal with alongside your anxiety, just talking about anxiety with other subjects. Today I decided to talk about anxiety and physical symptoms. I think this is one of the hardest things to deal with when you've got anxiety, is all the physical symptoms that come with it. Sometimes people actually only have the physical symptoms of anxiety and they don't so much deal with the anxious thoughts, it's just the feelings of anxiety. I know that most of the time I have the physical symptoms more than the actual psychological symptoms, and they're so difficult to deal with, and it's really hard to know whether you feel ill or you have an illness or whatever, or if your anxiety is just kind of playing up. So I decided to talk about that today. There are so many symptoms you can get because of anxiety. I'm only going to talk about like 4 or 5 today, but there are so many more, and if there's any more that you can think of that you'd like me to talk about, or any other anxiety related videos you'd like me to talk about, then please feel free to ask me. First symptom that I'm going to talk about is heart palpitations. This is something that's really scary, especially the first time or first few times that you get them. It does sometimes feel like you're having a heart attack. It can feel very scary, and it's feels very unfair that we have to deal with it because we're already very anxious and our heart's deciding to make us more anxious by making us feel like we're literally having a heart attack. So heart palpitation is when your heart beats really, really fast, and it's a very common symptom when you have anxiety. 3 things that I do to cope with them. The first one is when I'm starting to get heart palpitation, I cough. Like I do like a really hard, like really hard cough. That usually like sinks back my heart. I don't know any of the scientific terminology ever for anxiety because I'm not a doctor. I just know about anxiety because I've experienced it. But second thing is breathing really slowly as you possibly can. After maybe 10 ins and outs, usually your heart starts to feel a lot better. Thirdly, what I like to do is I like to actually feel my heart, and if you put your heart right on your chest, maybe under my jumper, if you put your hand right on your chest, you can usually feel your heart beating. I like to hold my heart as I breathe really slowly and I cough. Sounds weird, might not sound great, but give them a try. If you're suffering with heart palpitations, it might help. The second physical symptom that I have is nausea. This is the worst symptom because I have emetophobia, which is a phobia of sick. Feeling sick is never ever good, and it's like my anxiety knows I've got a phobia of sick because this is my most common symptom. But because I have been experiencing it for quite a while, I kind of know some things about how to help my nausea when it comes on. My first most important tip for this one is to never fight it. When you start to feel nauseous in your tummy and you start to feel like funny, never fight it. Just kind of breathe and let the symptoms do what they have to do. It's anxiety. It's very unlikely you're going to actually be sick or anything bad's going to happen because of it. It's just your anxiety. And just breathe. Maybe hold your tummy if you feel like that would help. Just take lots of deep breaths and just let the nausea happen. I know that sounds really horrible and really scary, but it will go a lot faster if you just let it come. It's just a wave of anxiety that's coming in, and you just need to let it happen. If you start to fight it, you're gonna get really panicky. If you start to feel the nausea in your tummy and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick, this is really scary, this is like more than anxiety, and you start to fight it, that's when the problem starts, and that's when you might have a panic attack. That's when you might start to feel really anxious and you can't deal with the situation that you're in. Just try your best to not fight it, just let it happen, let it just wave, let it wash right over you, and it's going to be gone in 10 minutes max. Just let your body do its thing. Another tip is to drink tiny sips of water. Don't like gulp water down, because then you're going to probably feel a bit more sick because you're putting loads and loads of liquid in your body at once. Rehydrating your body. I also personally find having fizzy juice really helps. I know this is probably going to be opposites for some people. Some people might make them feel much worse. Some people it might not have an effect on. Some people it'll make them feel better. For me, it really makes me feel better. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor, like I said, so I don't really know. But I always find that having Not even something with necessarily sugar in it. Sometimes I have Diet Coke and I feel just loads better. I don't know what it is, maybe it's I have absolutely no idea. If anybody knows, then please enlighten me. Also eating things like crackers or biscuits or anything that's really, really dry, because it just really, really helps. I know that's a traditional nausea thing and it really helps me. The next physical symptom is fatigue or like over-exhaustion. If you're just generally feeling run down, it's usually because your body and your mind are really tired and fatigued. This is a really hard one because you might feel like you are constantly fatigued and constantly tired because anxiety and depression and mental health is a full-time job, that it feels like a full-time job. It's really, really hard, and it's very, very normal and common to feel like you're constantly tired and fatigued. But when you're in those moments of feeling so exhausted and just like you can't bring yourself to do anything, the best thing for that is to really take care of yourself. Eat well, try and eat the best you can, also treating yourself, taking plenty of baths, reading, colouring in, watching TV. That is the remedy that I use for when I'm feeling just really, really, really like just run down basically. Unless you're feeling overexhausted because you've got something like insomnia, which means you might need to do other things for your exhaustion and stuff like that. But for the days when you're just feeling like, oh my god, I can't do this, then take a rest day. Just if you can, take a rest day or schedule a rest day in the following week or 2 weeks or whatever, and just make sure that you're getting enough rest and self-care. The next symptom is feeling dizzy or faint. This is something that's so common in people with anxiety. I remember when my anxiety properly first started, I was like 10, 11, and this is the main physical symptom I had all the time, but nobody told me that it was an anxiety symptom. I just generally thought I was going to faint. It tends to be worse when it's in summer or when you're particularly hot, but feeling dizzy or faint is like the worst thing. It's just honestly so difficult. I really understand if you're going through that. The best possible thing you can do for that is to cool yourself down. Go outside and just like stand on your doorstep for a while, open windows, just make sure you really cool yourself down. It's quite unlikely you're going to feel faint or dizzy when you're really, really cold or cooled down. Even if you don't like feeling cold, it's the best thing to do. Also rehydrating. A lot of the time people feel dizzy or faint because they've not had enough water. So it doesn't help when your anxiety is making you feel dizzy or faint. Make sure that it's not. Definitely rule out hydration by taking lots of little sips of water again. Don't over breathe. That's something that's like when you're starting to feel anxious and you start to feel faint and then you start breathing really fast or just like breathing in a certain way, you start to get really, really even more faint and more dizzy, and it just turns into a nightmare. So make sure you're breathing just normally. You don't need to focus on counting your breaths or anything like that. Just breathe. Just breathe as normally as you possibly can. And also, usually in this situation, distractions really help. So anything you have that distracts yourself. There's a certain YouTuber that you really like watching that always distracts you. Watch them, playing guitar, whatever you do to that distracts yourself, just do it. And my last symptom is IBS. I've done a whole video on IBS, so I'll link that down below if you want to know more about IBS and know more about tips to help it and stuff like that. But this is a symptom that's just really, really horrific, and I just hate IBS a lot. The best things I do for my IBS is hot and cold compresses. So sometimes I'll have a bath and have it really hot and lie down on my tummy in the bath and just have like hot, just having heat on my tummy seems to help. At the same time, cold compresses really help. If I have like a can or something like that I can like have on my tummy and like press down with the can on my tummy. Sounds bizarre, but it really helps me. Having moisturising your tummy. I suppose it feels like to me built up stress in your tummy. That's what IBS is to me. And sometimes, actually, today I went to college and I was thinking, on my way to college I feel really sick, oh my god, it was like really IBS symptoms, and I literally just thought to myself, Emily, relax your tummy. Just like relax your tummy. And it really worked. I know somebody might be watching this and be like, you're telling me to relax my tummy when I'm feeling stressed. Yeah, just give it a shot. Why not? What have you got to lose? So they are all my tips and suggestions on dealing with physical symptoms when you have anxiety. I know it's really tough, and there's plenty of other things you can do for these. If none of these work for you, there's plenty of other things that you can try out. I also know there's lots of more physical symptoms that you might be having. Honestly, physical symptoms when it comes to anxiety, there's nothing that's abnormal. Everything's pretty normal. If you're even having hair loss, or you're having weight gain, weight loss, if you're having insomnia, if you're having everything, honestly, it's so, anxiety can do lots of strange things to your body and it's totally normal. If there's anything that I missed out that you'd like me to talk about or anything, then just tell me down below. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye!